Hello and welcome to episode
16.
uh, that of Lesbian Talk. I am your host, Beetlejuice.
You're not. You're Diamond Heaven.
I could totally be Beetlejuice,
You totally could not in any way.
maybe. Well, so what was our word from last week, Winona Ryder?
Uh, it's me, the Omega, and our word was bearskin. As in the
So,
skin of a bear.
god damn it, I have to talk about bear porn. I wanted to talk about regular porn, but I gotta talk about hairy naked guys now.
No,
Thanks very much,
not
dictionary.
bear's the gay guy. Bear's the animal in the woods and stuff.
So we're gonna talk about furry porn?
No, just bears in general. Like a bearskin rug or something.
Why would I want to cut up a bear and make it into a rug? Those poor guys, they're just fat and hairy and gay.
I think there's a fundamental disconnect going on here.
You're a fundamentalist.
I'm confused. I don't know where I am.
You're in Paris.
No, we're not.
You're
I
always in
think I
Paris.
think you're a compulsive liar.
Maybe. Or maybe you're a religious leader.
I'm not a religious. If I was a religious leader, I think I'd know.
I have a compulsion to lie to religious leaders.
Oh yeah, that's right, you do. No, world leaders, because you lied to well, no, I guess the Dalai Lama is a religious leader too. So
Yeah. So, bearskin. Do you have any issue with people making furniture or ornamentation out of dead bears?
ethically and morally, no, but I wouldn't want a bearskin rug because I think that it might come alive in the night and get me.
You'd be worried about the bearskin ghosts?
Yeah.
Well, I have no ethical issues either. As far as I'm concerned, that if you are ethically opposed to use of animal products, in furniture and things like that, but you are not also ethically opposed to eating meat, then you're being a hypocrite.
Well, you shouldn't. I mean, like, if you use the animal products, for furniture or for clothing or something, they should be killed humanely. Like they shouldn't be like suffer and be tortured and anything. Because
Oh
that's
yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's where, as far as I'm concerned, ethics comes in. That they're not killed torturously. That's horrible. The
like if
but
you went out into the wild and you trapped like a raccoon, and you killed it and made a raccoon skin hat. I don't really have any ethical problems with that.
no, I've come across some people who are fine with eating meat, but don't think that, for instance, wearing leather is okay. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's more ethical to wear leather than to eat meat,
But
because
it's not wasting because you ate the cow, or someone ate the cow, I guess, and you made the leather from its skin.
well, that's true. My other point is that the if you eat meat, and no one has ever died because they didn't get to eat meat in one meal.
That
So there is actually no need to eat meat. I don't care what people say. You might like meat a lot, you might not. You don't need to eat meat. So the animal's death, the only effect it has is like a couple of meals.
Well, you
However,
don't
if you
need
kill
to
an,
eat meat, but you do need protein, regardless of where you get it from, and
yeah,
the easiest place is meat.
yeah, that's true. But if but the effect that the animal's death has on you is several meals. While if you're wearing a leather jacket or something, you have literally years of wear out of that leather jacket. So the animal, if they died for leather, their death had more purpose than just being meat.
Okay, I see what you're getting at now.
Yeah, meat's not important. While ornamentation might, you might think it looks creepy or you might not like it or anything, but it's a lot more functional and useful than a hamburger.
Yeah, I can see that. I
Yeah.
mean, don't get me wrong. I have worn many a leather jacket and many leather boots. So,
When I was in Thailand, I bought a necklace made out of snake bones,
oh, that's cool.
which I still got, and you can actually see it in the. I believe I'm wearing it in the Police Academy marathon video, and I showed it off on the internet, to some people who I was friends with, and several people were ethically opposed to it. How dare you wear something with snake bones? And I pointed out that in that day, I had had 3 meals the day I bought that. 2 of them had chicken, 1 of them had fish. How many animals died to make those meals which were not necessary? So if all I'm saying, I'm not saying that either of them is completely ethical, but if you're going to complain about one, not the other, then you're complaining about the lesser of two evils.
Well, people like to complain. Like, I mean, I can understand if someone's like, well, I'm a diehard vegetarian and I don't believe in any kind of cruelty, to animals, any kind of eating or using. That's fine. I mean, if that's your thing, that's your thing. But like, a lot of people just are looking for something to get offended about. Like, I had this friend of mine who I'd been friends with in high school, and this was a few years after she got home from college, and we went out to in the neighborhood, in her neighborhood. We went out to a convenience store, and I was hungry. I hadn't eaten in a while. I was like, I need a candy bar, and so I got a Hershey bar. And regardless of what you personally think about Hershey, honey, it doesn't enter into the story. And she goes, so we're walking home, and I'm like, oh yeah, candy bar, nom nom nom, chocolate, yay. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you. And I was like, what? I was hungry. Okay, yeah, I'm fat. What are you gonna do? And she's like, no, that's blood chocolate. And I was like, excuse me? Because I'd heard the phrase blood diamonds, for like, the horrific violence, and exploitation and stuff around, the African diamond mines. So I was kind of familiar with the phrase. I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, do you know where they get that chocolate? I was like, from Hershey, Pennsylvania. And she's like, no, because see what Hershey does is they and all these other, crooked chocolate companies, what they do is they buy cocoa from South America. I was like, well, yeah, that's where it comes from. And she's like, do you know how they get that chocolate? I was like, from chocolate trees? Because cocoa beans grow on trees. And she's like, yeah, well, they have to, they have to be pulled out of the chocolate, the cocoa fruit. I was like, yeah. She's like, and they chain children in the trees and make them do it for a living, and they don't pay them at all. And if they're good, they get enough to eat. So I never buy blood chocolate. I only get this. And she told me this kind that is at Trader Joe's. It's like $5 a chocolate bar, you know. And she's like, because that's the only real ethical way to eat chocolate. And I was like, oh. And so a few weeks later, I was hanging out with a different set of friends, and I told the story because I thought it was pretty funny. And a friend of mine goes, that's bullshit. I said, really? It sounded kind of credible. She's like, look, I went to Costa Rica for several summers in a row because, she was in a Spanish immersion program. And she's like, do you want to know who picks the cocoa beans? College students. American and Costa Rican college students. They pay us a few bucks an hour. You sit in the trees, you eat the chocolate fruit, and then you spit the bean into a little bag, and then they get, like homogenized or superheated and stuff like that, and then ground down. And I thought that was really funny, and I Googled it, and it turns out that that's the truth.
It sounds like your friend just wanted something to, wanted a cause.
Yeah, so for a while afterwards, like everything was blood so and so. Wait, did you order pizza from Apollo's? Well, yeah. That's blood pizza. What? How many white American college students died for your blood pizza? How many? And do you
How
even
about,
care?
how about blood oranges?
I like blood oranges, actually.
Well, with
They're
the
so pretentious, that friend of mine. We don't even talk anymore, though. It's probably for the best.
with the thing about the meat eating, it's I'm not entirely sure it's people looking for a cause. I think it's people who grow up in a culture where meat eating is prevalent, and so that's taken as a given. So they never give it any consideration. But while the thing that is slightly out of the norm, which is using animal products and other things, especially over in the UK, because we don't have a big, massive working class hunting culture.
That's true.
So
We don't.
so we're not used to that part of it. So they have this knee jerk reaction of that is wrong, while not looking at the ethics of what they do themselves. It's I can't really believe I'm going to use the term, but it's a little bit connected to the concept of privilege, because it's like in this case the thing with the privilege would be meat eating because they don't even consider using the same standard of on it as they use on something that's unusual.
That's true. Well, I mean, like I said, not all people who are vegetarians or who don't like using animal products are just looking for a cause. I mean, like I
Oh
have
yeah.
known like our friend vegan. He's just vegan. That's just what he does. I mean, like I have friends who are vegetarians. They just don't like to eat meat, and that's cool.
Yeah, I quite often don't eat meat. It's several people who have commented to me that they thought I was vegetarian until for a long time because I quite often will go for vegetarian options on menus, and
But
I just
you
prefer
have a
it.
reason for that, though.
Well, no, well, everyone has a reason for what they do.
Well, not
Like,
that you have a reason, but like there's a specific reason why you do that.
well, there's several. And there's the thing that I don't like beef and I don't like prawns and I don't like crab, but there's also just I prefer vegetables in quite a lot of the time. But
I really prefer meat in all things.
like over here we have a thing corn, which is like fake meat, and it's fucking terrible. And
Is that the
that
stuff that you thought was tofu?
well, I know that corn is made out of like fungus and stuff, and that's why I figured that tofu would be made the same way. I didn't realize tofu was a bean.
Well,
So
the tofu that I got was good. I just wish, and I got extra firm, but it was still like kind of like, I mean, it was kind of firm, but it kind of wasn't. And I really wish if it was tougher, like, I would think I would like it more. Like, I eat a lot of lean chicken. I don't eat beef anymore because I stopped because it's really unhealthy for you, it turns out, and you don't eat it anyway, so it just makes it easier.
well, with the meat with the vegetarian stuff, it's I really dislike fake meat because if you're gonna pretend to eat meat, just eat fucking meat. If you want to have the taste or whatever of meat, eat meat. If you want to have vegetable stuff, eat vegetable stuff. Like a lot of the time, I'll go for vegetarian stuff, and then occasionally, especially when I was over in England and cooking for myself, I would then occasionally just have a hell of a lot of meat in one meal.
Or like if we go to Famous Dave's.
Well, yeah, I like barbecue food. I also like kebab, vegetables and stuff.
Well,
But
don't tell, but so my sister was a vegetarian for I guess I can't share this episode on Facebook. But my sister was a vegetarian for a while for reasons unknown. And there was this one Saturday afternoon I was sitting at the kitchen table and I heated up a piece of pepperoni pizza from the night before. So I was sitting at the kitchen table reading the newspaper like, "Oh, nom, I love pizza." And she comes sits down across me and goes, "Ah, man, moo. Moo? Don't you even care? Moo, that's what you're eating." I looked up and I said, "First of all, honey, this is pepperoni. It's made of pork. There is no cow anywhere involved. Second of all, this is pepperoni. It's probably entirely nitrates and fat. There's no organic animal that's come anywhere near this. Thank you for your concern."
yeah, people being jackassy about it. Either way, like I've seen meat eaters who just knee-jerkly attack vegetarians, or people who are like demand to have meat in every meal. They are just as twatty as your sister was being in this story.
Well, I mean, if you don't want to eat meat, you don't have to. And if you want to eat meat, go for it.
Yeah,
I don't understand why it's become such a pitched culture war, you know? Do what you want. I mean, if you want to have a bagel, have a bagel. It's not my business.
I was over in February at a friend's wedding. I actually had a really fascinating, like, 5-hour conversation with
You
this
would
guy.
have a 5-hour conversation with somebody.
Well, the reception was quite long, and I was on the table with him, and he was a friend of the boyfriend of a friend of the husband,
Okay,
and he was a vegan cage fighter,
that's interesting.
like MMA and sort of thing, and that was his job. But he was the most intelligent person I have ever met, and I have
Ever.
met quite a few intelligent people.
More intelligent than me?
Unfortunately, yes, honey.
Oh, you don't know that. I could be a cage fighter in my secret identity. Probably not.
We did comment though that after like several hours worth of thing, this is possibly the greatest conversation that has ever happened between a cage fighter and a comedian, because we were discussing we jumped from things like free will to the ethics of veganism to the fact the idea that with time society is drawn to improve itself, and then wondering what at least from where you're standing, the in the past the ethics have been rougher, and how things are altering. And then we both came to the conclusion that if things go as they're going, then it is quite possible in about 150 years, the people who are looked back on, people who are looking in the future, looking back on us, will view us as barbarians for eating meat.
It's possible.
Yeah, it was actually a fascinating conversation. I really wish I'd got the guy's sort of email address. He was great.
You're gonna leave me for a vegan cage fighter.
I sincerely doubt that. Although he did say that if I ever do a stand-up gig and I'm worried about hecklers, he will guard me.
You're gonna leave me for a vegan cage fighter.
Never.
Okay, just saying. So wow, that spiraled out of control from bearskin rugs to vegan cage fighters.
We're talking about ethics. Is there a point to going on to the next subject, or should we just keep on this until the break, honey?
Well, actually, there is a point because we opened this with bearskin rugs, and you became confused and thought we were going to talk about bears, the gay subculture.
Hmm.
But I have actually been to a bear bar several times, and do you know where it's located?
Bear City. I've seen the movie Bear City.
No, in Philadelphia.
Ah,
Yeah, there's a bear bar called the Bike Stop, and I actually went there. The first time I went there was with Sam and Elaine, who he was dating at the time, and Brendan and my roommate, because we went from we'd gone to Philly Pride, and then Sam was like, we should go to this bar that I know they're doing karaoke. And my friend Brendan, who he's really awesome, and I hope we can get down to Dublin soon, and you can meet him. He was a theater major, straight as the day is long, like completely, like totally hetero into girls, but a theater major. And so he went up and did a few songs for karaoke, and then he came over and he was like, "Oh, these guys are buying me drinks. This is the friendliest bar ever." We were like, "Oh, oh dear heart, oh dear." But yeah, I've been to the bike stop a few times, and actually that was the night before there'd been a party at Bill's, and I had whiskey for the first time. And Bill's like, "Here, try this." I'm like, "Wow, that's amazing. What is it? Is it a mixed drink?" He's like, "No, that's whiskey," and I've never had whiskey before. So I went up to the bar, and the bartender was this huge, muscly, bald-headed queen. And I said, he's like, "What do you have, hun?" And I was like, "Ah, a shot of whiskey." And he goes, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yes." He's okay. And then he brought me, a nice sized shot of whiskey too. I don't even remember if it was top shelf or whatever. And I paid, and he gave me he opened a bottle of water and he put it on. I said, "Well, how much more?" He goes, "Oh no, it's on the house." And I'm like, "I could take a shot. Just saying, I might be a girl, but I can still do it. Shut up, I'm a lesbian. That makes me awesome."
did you? So you got the whiskey for free?
No, I paid for it, but I got the water for free.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I misunderstood a little bit. But yeah, Philadelphia. I want to spend more time there.
Well, you know what? I will totally enable you to do so.
You know,
Because
it would be a,
Philadelphia, city of brotherly love. Okay, it's not that much love, but you know what I mean.
well, there's a lot of the nicknames in America don't make sense. Virginia is for lovers, not if that guy who wants to be governor has any say about it. He's
I
trying to,
know, right? And it's not even like gay sex. It's like oral and anal, straight and gay sex. Ain't
yeah.
nobody be having fun in Virginia.
Virginia used to be for lovers. Now everyone goes to Maryland.
Virginia, it's for missionary.
But oh yeah, Philadelphia I really liked. Unfortunately, it's like 2 hours away from your house. So when we got, by the time we got there, and then got the everything in there and got it the bus in there, the metro and everything. It was, or the SEPTA, sorry. It was like halfway through the day. So
Well, I mean, what we can do next time is we'll just, go up in the evening. We'll just stay over at my parents, and then we can just take the R5, or we'll just drive to the Paoli station, park the car, and then we can take the train into the city.
sounds like a good idea.
Yeah,
The
but go ahead.
mhm. There's a bunch of things like I didn't get to do there, like the Liberty Bell and have a proper look at the Continental Congress building and
I need to take you to Independence Hall.
yeah, and the Benjamin Franklin Institute.
Oh yeah, the Franklin Institute's a lot of fun. It's a bit expensive. It didn't used to be, but I also need to take you to South Street.
What's
South
South
Street.
Street?
South Street is well, it's a street. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. There's a cool bar. Tattooed Mom is a pretty famous bar there. Fat Tuesday. The Trocadero is there. It's a live venue. There's just a lot there. Zipperhead, that really cool shop. Well, they used to be there. I don't know if they are. Their building had these huge ants crawling up it. There's a million and one tattoo parlors. There's Harry's Occult.
Oh yes, you mentioned that's a bit like Camden in London.
Yeah, yeah.
cool.
It's really just cool, great stuff.
And another trip to the Franklin Fountain.
Yeah. Well, what we would do is you probably just walk down South Street to Penn's Landing, and then walk over to Second Street.
What about the I forget the name of the place. Place full of food that used to be a train place.
Reading Terminal Market.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of a bit away. We could take the L there.
Well, what I'm suggesting is we go up to when next time we go to Philly, make it a 2 or 3 day thing
Oh yeah, we can totally do that.
because there's a hell of a lot we've not done. We did, we did Love Park. We did Eastern State Penitentiary. We did the bus tour. What else did we do?
We did the Motor Museum.
Yes, I think we've been in there twice, haven't we?
Yeah, because you and I went, and then we went with on the ill-fated Philly meetup.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to the Butcher again. It had, apart from everything else, it had a really fascinating shop.
We can go to the shop, but like I've seen it all now. I'm like, all right, unless they get new stuff, now I'm bored. I've seen this all.
Although I've told my parents that next time they come to America, they really should go over to Philadelphia, and
That'd be cool. We could show them around.
I mentioned they should look at the Mutter Museum.
I
I had
think I think I could see your dad liking it, but I think it would kind of freak your mom out.
that sounds about right. Plus, my dad, I had to explain the Mutter was basically like the American answer to the Hunterian Museum.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He's a doctor. Yeah, he'll totally be into it.
Yeah, I know he's been to the Hunterian, which is I believe it's got things like the body of the Elephant Man.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, I think it's bigger than the Mutter. I've never been there, so whenever we get to London, that's going to be one of the things we can investigate together because
I
I've
totally
not done
would.
it.
I need to also. Oh, I was talking to Sam the other day because I heard a dance song that was playing on my coworker's radio, and I put on his Facebook. I'm like, whenever I hear any kind of dance or club music, I think of going clubbing with Sam, and he's like, oh, we should totally go. I'm like, we should. So I need to take you to yeah, we need to take you to Woody's, which is one of the gay bars. And we just need to take you to Sisters, which is the lesbian bar.
It sounds like fun. And apart from Philly, there's a couple of things we still have to do in DC, like the Museum of Crime, which I never got to see. And oh, remember last time when we were in DC, you wanted to go to the Museum of the American History Museum.
Oh yeah, well it's been a while since I've been there.
And we did end up not going because me and my parents had been there whenever I was showing them around like the day before.
Well,
So
that's fun. I mean, I do live like 40 minutes away. I could go by myself if I wanted to.
I know, but next time I'm over there and we're able to go to DC, we could do both of those in a single day and get lunch in Native American Place.
Of course. Another place I need to take you is Valley Forge National Park,
That would be good.
which that was actually my local park when I was a little teeny kid. So we would go there like it was just like, the local park.
Oh, everyone, there's a reason we're discussing this sort of thing, because hopefully next episode will be recorded live from Pikesville.
No, it won't. It'll be recorded live from somewhere else, because that will be that Sunday.
Oh, yeah, sorry, this is in 2 episodes then.
But hopefully.
Yeah.
And we might even have a special guest or two next week. Stay tuned. Well, actually, not next week, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it'll be at some point in the future. We're working on the interviews, but yeah, future episodes, I may well be over in Pikesville. We're not entirely sure.
Hopefully.
Where else? Where else I want to look at? Oh, yes. Whenever I'm over there, for one evening, I would like to go to a meal in the Peruvian restaurant in Wheaton,
Oh, the one up here. Yeah, okay.
up near the Scottish place. Plus, we could, phone the Scottish place and find out if they've got haggis.
Yeah,
Just make it you and me.
I'm fine with that. Although, will your mum be upset because the first time I have haggis, it was not that she made?
She won't care.
Oh, will her Scottish pride be offended?
The Scottish don't have any pride.
Scottish pride! I think they have pride in tablet.
The Scottish, the Scottish are very, 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 very happy, and if they're not actually losing at something, they feel that the world's gone wrong somehow, because the Scottish do have a tendency to be very enthusiastic, but ultimately everything comes to nothing.
Like in football or just in general?
Well, I'm mostly thinking about football and sports, but it does seem to happen quite a lot in the culture anyway.
Ah, I guess. I Is that why they deep fry everything?
No, it's got to deep fry everything because deep frying is great.
Deep frying is not great. It's horribly unhealthy for you.
It's great.
No, it's not great. Like you keep telling me, oh, you need to get a deep fat fryer. No.
Well, you're going to get one whenever we're in England. Whenever it happens that we are living together, there is going to be a deep fat fryer.
But why? I don't want to deep fat fry things. That's terribly
You
unhealthy.
don't deep fat fry everything. You just have it there for ease of whenever you do deep fry something.
Uh, I I don't know what to tell you about that.
You deep fry chips or you deep fry fish or whatever.
Okay, well, all right. So tomorrow, one of the things that because I went food shopping, is I got they had turkey breast on sale
Hmm.
for so and so many a pound. So I got some turkey breast. I'm gonna make that, and then I got some little red potatoes that I'm gonna slice and coat with a teeny little bit of oil and Old Bay seasoning and make Old Bay fries. But then you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put them on a baking sheet in the oven. So that
Well,
way I need only like literally a tablespoon of oil for the whole entire fries instead of millions upon millions of deep fry.
well, sorry. UK style chips are generally deep fried, and I know you're going to find this
So are
horrifying, but
American ones. It just I'm trying to lose weight
well,
because
you'll
I'm
probably end
fat.
up losing because of the difference in food in the UK and over there. I think you get over here, you'll lose weight anyway.
That's true. Well, I've lost probably about 15, almost 20 pounds in the past 3 or 4 months. So
Well, that's cool.
yeah.
The the plus you might find this fairly terrible, but the general thing with deep frying over here is you in the fryer you don't empty the deep fat fryer every single time you use it
Oh, why not?
because if there's any sort of bacteria in it, they are killed by the frying of the oil.
But the oil will go rancid though.
No, you can usually use it for several times in a go.
I'm scared. Hold me.
Well, this is just one of these differences between the countries.
Yeah, you also burn coal. Like it's, Dickens times.
Yeah,
That's
and peat and turf and wood,
Well, those are all burnable things, but coal kills you instantly, as we well know.
except it totally doesn't.
But no, because then you will get like deadly British child lung disease, just like in Charles Dickens.
The UK is not the same as it was in the Victorian era. Do you walk around the outskirts of Philadelphia and worry that you're going to be attacked by a mountain lion?
Yes.
Okay, so nothing has changed in America since Assassin's Creed 3.
Yes.
Wonderful.
And there's Indians all over the place except for nowhere, except for we killed them all. I still, I can't watch Disney's Pocahontas. I never could. I feel, because when I was a little teeny kid, I went to school and I, was educated on the liberal East Coast. And pretty much the first thing they taught us in first grade was, you know, look what you did. And I was like, what? And they were like, well, here's just what white people did, okay? So the settlers basically killed all of the Native Americans and gave the diseases and just killed them all off because we're evil bastards. They did? Yup. And then they brought all these African folks from Africa and pretty much enslaved them and made their lives living hell for several hundred years. They they did? Yup. Your people. It was all your fault. Oh, Jesus Christ. Like, I literally, even to this day, I can't watch Pocahontas. I feel too guilty.
You should feel guilty in Pocahontas in the fact that it's a bunch of white people reinterpreting the story as make it really, really nice to whitewash it. It shouldn't be the events. When watching Pocahontas, it shouldn't be the events that upset you of the actual
Whole thing
thing. It should
upset
be
me.
the fact that
We decimated an entire people
oh
over like an entire continent
I oh
to
I know.
North and South America.
Oh, I know. Well, the Spanish did South America.
Yeah, well,
Um,
I mean, like, Western Europeans.
but we mean with Pocahontas, with regard to the Disney Pocahontas film, you
Oh, yeah, I
really
know it's
should be
not the real.
embarrassed
I know it's not the real story. I know it.
because they're adding insult to injury.
I just I feel really bad. And the song "Colors of the Wind" was Vanessa Williams did a version of it that was on the radio, and I really love it. And I'm like, I can't paint with all the colors of the wind, and I can't listen to the wolf howling to the blue corn moon because we killed all the Native Americans and now everything sucks. And oh God! And then when we read Sadako Sasaki and the Thousand Paper Cranes, I laid my head down on my desk and sobbed all day. And I was inconsolable. My teacher was like, "What?" I'm like, "I read the book. She died." And she was like, "Yes, she died of leukemia." And I was like, "It was our fault. We dropped the bomb on those poor innocent people." Because they in elementary school they really didn't explain to us the intricacies of World War II. It was basically you guys came, America came out of the blue with no provocation and just bombed the fuck out of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Like as an elementary school child, I was obsessed with Hiroshima because it was just this horrific, horrible thing that my people had perpetrated. And again, no background was given to why this happened, just that it did. I think I was the only fourth grader to read John Hersey's Hiroshima, which is written on like an adult reading level, because I found a copy of it in my parents' bookshelf. But yeah, Philadelphia is a great place.
Philadelphia is a fun city.
But we have talked over long, and it is now time for Nana Warren Skulls. And you had something to say about that, didn't you, honey?
Did I?
Yeah, you did, remember? We said we'd have to tell everybody.
Oh, yes. Dear fans of Lesbian Talk, who may or may not have bands or whatever, we are reaching the end of all the new Nanowar songs that I've got, because several of them we can't play because either they're intros or outros to the album, or they're parodies of songs, which might get us in trouble with copyright, even though they're actually parodies and not the actual version. There's even one or two covers there. So, because we are approaching the end of that, please, if you have a band, if you have songs that you have done yourself that you own the rights to, and you want it on the show, send it in, and we will play it. Also, give some sort of a visual for the song and everything.
And we'll totally be like, "Hey, it's so and so's band. You can follow them on Twitter, and they're real great guys." Okay.
Yeah, you'll get a little advertisement.
Because we love you. You could be an honorary lesbian. You, a lesbian. Just don't tell your parents.
And the guy who did the song, our brilliant theme song, if your band has any more songs, we can play them.
We totally will. Because you're already an honorary lesbian, but you can be even more of an honorary lesbian.
Because otherwise, we're just going to have to play the theme song over and over again while Omega goes, "Rawr, skulls! This is totally a song, rawr!" And I don't think anyone would think that was real.
That would be really pretty horrible, actually.
"Rawr, skulls!
Rawr, skulls! This is a song."
Oh man, guys, my order of the House of Moorcock has been sent.
I can't even do anything with that. Like, I know what you're talking about, and I want to make an innuendo-ish joke so much, but then I hate when other people do that, so.
House of Moorcock, for anyone who doesn't know, is by the same people who made Stonewall and Riot. It is their sort of X-Files-ish, sort of paranormal porno.
Paranormal gay porn. So, yeah. Alright, so I guess it's time for Giovanni's trivia fact. Giovanni, are you around? Yeah, I'm right here, boss. Sorry I'm late. Oh, you're not late. You're actually just in time. So, let me get you your fact. You can read it. Boss, I don't just read the fact. I embody it. Body and soul.
Hey, Giovanni!
Now talking to you.
We were totally impudent in that video of mine that you appeared in.
Yeah, of course I was impudent. You know why? Because I don't really want to be involved with any of this stuff. All you do is make all these lobster jokes like, "Hey, how come you're red? Hey, how come you're horrible? You know, are you boiled? Are you a lobster? You're horrible." All you do is bully people. You're a bully, Hagen. See, kid, this is what happened.
It's true.
So if you're done with your histrionics,
I'm sorry.
Apology accepted. So anyway, I've got a good fact for you guys today. Oscar the Grouch used to be orange. Did you know that? It's true. Jim Henson decided to make him green before the second season of Sesame Street. How did Oscar explain the color change? He said he went on vacation to the very damp swamp, Mushy Muddy, and turned green overnight. So, always use deodorant, kids, or you might turn green. This has been Giovanni's Trivia Fact, and Creature, just to let you know, I love the title card. Really great, man. So, Hagen, I hope that you'll think about what you've done, and I'll see you guys next week. Honey, you can stop crying now.
You think he'd turn green if we threw him into the mushy muddy?
That's not a real thing. Oscar
Well,
was lying.
well, neither is Giovanni.
Yes, he is. You leave my lobster alone.
You made me cry. What are we talking about now?
Now it's time for One Time at the Store.
Go for it. I want to hear about it.
See, now I feel like pressured. Like, what if it's not a very good story? Everyone.
That's okay. I'll just tell you it was a good story while winking at the audience.
Mm.
How do I wink at the audience with just audio? I don't know.
I don't know either. Actually, this was pretty cool. This came from something that happened today. But so usually when the company trains us, they do it in a pretty cool way. Like 1 year in the very beginning of the time that I worked at the store, we had this core competency board game that you were scheduled for a half hour to come and sit down with your manager and play this board game. And you clocked in, you got paid for the time, and there were snacks and sodas and stuff. And so it was basically this kind of like board game with trivia questions and cards about the core competencies. And I thought, for training, that's pretty cool. Okay, you're gonna have this training, you're gonna get paid for your time, you don't have to wear work clothes, you can wear jeans or whatever, and you get snacks and treats, and you play a game.
You wear jeans when you go to work anyway.
No, I don't.
Don't you?
Oh, I wear black jeans. But yeah, you can't wear jeans. Khakis are fine, regular pants or black jeans, as long as you can't tell they're jeans.
Cack means shit.
Khakis.
That's why it's a funny term for trousers.
Yes, dear.
It's literal brown trousers time.
No trousers, pants, 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 pants. But, so today, my manager said, hey, can you stay 15 minutes extra? You need to take this training. And I was like, oh, fine. And it was really great because it was about conversations. How to have conversations with customers to come up and, identify their needs and stuff like that. And, not just ignore them and stuff and get them what they want. And it was pretty funny for me because I've been working for the company 9 years now, so obviously I know how to hand sell books. But the video, it was so hilarious because a lot of their training videos assumes that every customer is just going to be peachy keen and a wonderful person. And it was so great. It was like that you had to watch this video, and because it was a computer training, you occasionally played a YouTube video kind of thing. And it was this girl, Susie, and she was back in kids. And a guy came up and he was reading a book, and she approached him and said, "Oh, I see that you're reading Magic Treehouse series, and he's like, "Oh, yeah." And she's like, "Oh, well, is your child interested?" He's like, "Actually, it's for my nephew. He doesn't like fiction." And they go through this whole long convoluted conversation, and they were like, "Do you see? Susie did everything right." And I'm like, "That's because Susie's probably the kids lead." It was so ridiculous. And then it had testimonials from people this one bookseller was like, and you could tell that it was someone who recorded this in their break room. They're like, "I had a hard time initiating a conversation with a customer and things and stuff. And then everyone told me, don't worry, just be yourself and act natural." And that was one of the things, you have to approach the customer, greet them, identify their needs, ask questions, make recommendations and close the sale. And I felt bad for all the noobs who are going to be catastrophically depressed and worried that they're having conversations wrong if the customer chooses not to buy a book. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was good advice if you're a new person, but a lot of it was remember to try to sound and act natural.
Did you have any things? Did you have any things to do or say if your person you were dealing with was a crazy person or a serial killer?
No, they don't assume that the customer's a serial killer. Of course, no business assumes their customer is a serial killer. It's just basically if somebody walked by the info desk and I was like, "Hey, how you doing today? Do you need anything I can help you find?" And usually customers are like, no, that's cool. And I'm like,
"I need to learn about human skin and taxidermy. Mother tells me I need to.
Well, actually, we had this one kid who, the whole family was crazy, and actually, he ended up getting arrested several years later. One of my old coworkers told me because he was found in his school with a death list. So yeah, and I was like, oh, that crazy kid. Well, he used to come in and come up to info and be like, yeah, I'm doing a report for school. Do you have any books about like, how to make your own knives and guns? And we'd be like, no, sorry, we don't. Or the one time it was like, do you know what, like, are there any books on like how to make meth? And we're like, oh no, we just sold that book the other day. Do you want me to order something for you? And he was like, no, because we totally didn't even look it up because we don't have any books about how to make meth. Yeah, it's for a school project. It's for a report. You liar! You lie so bad.
Yes, he lies so bad because he's bad at lying.
Yeah, he was not a fun conversation to have. We were lucky we did not close the sale. It was funny though. But so, honey, what are we going to talk about for the rest of the time?
We're going to talk about Doctor Who because that's what we're doing right now because we're both really sad Doctor Who fans. So if you don't like Doctor Who, or if you haven't seen the episode of Doctor Who which aired about a week ago, because we're on episode 2 right now because these are actually recorded about a week before they go up, then please switch off the podcast and come back next episode.
Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. Or you could fast forward to like the last 2 minutes when we do the word. But spoiler, 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 spoiler alert. Things and stuff, the internet, amen. Also skulls.
Yes. So, that episode, like, totally had the Doctor in it, and, he did stuff.
It was the rings of Akhenaten. Akhenaten?
See, like, last week you were complaining about how the Doctor was coming across as really creepy. And in this episode, he sits and he observes someone through all of their life. So it's like they heard your comment about how he was really, really creepy, and they decided to take that as a challenge.
Well, I mean, it was like... Okay, so I have to say that I really only got bits of the intro because for some reason iPlayer freaks out when you try to watch live at the very beginning. So I only saw bits of that, and I was like, yeah, I mean, he's totally a creeper. I mean, has he ever been this absolutely smitten by a companion before? In like a completely doctorish, non-sexual way?
I don't think he's just with the companion. I think he's more interested in the mystery.
Like why she is who she is and what's going on with her?
Yeah, he's not really seeing her as a person, more of an enigma he wants to work out.
Actually, you know what? That's pretty good then. Because that's pretty par for the course for him, isn't it? Like he really kind of sees his companions as like cherished pets.
Well, quite a lot of time, yeah. Well, the new Who companions don't, doctors don't tend to do that, but the old Doctor companions definitely did that. With this one, that's what I think. Explaining his actions with her.
And like, I don't know. The one thing I did like though was when they go to the market, it had a real Star Warsy kind of feel, and I actually did like that. And I liked how it seemed to be an actual goblin market, because if anyone who's familiar with Changeling the Lost, the idea of the goblin market, you can buy anything in the world that could possibly exist. You can buy it at the goblin market, and the currency is like human memories or emotions or things that have value, but only to the holder. And I was like, that's kind of cool. They're at an intergalactic goblin market.
There was a goblin market in Hellboy 2.
I didn't see Hellboy 2. I only saw Hellboy 1.
Even they called it a literal goblin market.
Well, the concept is not... I mean, the concept is a lot older than Changeling the Lost, but it's been developed into rules and stuff like that for Changeling the Lost.
Yeah.
The little girl wasn't cloying. She was actually, she was a pretty good actress.
Yeah, she was fine. I parts of it I thought were good. The rest of it I just thought was
What did you think was eh?
The whole ending thing of this sort of, oh look, the Doctor's yelling a big speech about how amazing things are, and then the girl sings the monster to death.
I actually thought that part was kind of cool. Well, she agreed with me. He tweeted about it. And here's why I thought that was cool. Okay, so Like, I thought it was cool that the bad guy wasn't, oh, just this monster. It was like, a son, that was pretty fucking hardcore. And it makes sense that that's why the whole goblin market exists, is to keep drawing in all this stuff, because it feeds off that kind of energy. That's cool. That's cool. Better than it feeds off love or something stupid like that. But
Well, the a sentient evil son. This is actually the second time this has happened in New Who.
I don't care. I think it's cool.
Okay, fine.
Oh, I love you. Oh, stop it. Although one thought that I just one phrase that appeared in my mind unbidden is when he's like, "Don't worry, I'm gonna." She's like, "You're gonna fight this, aren't you?" And he's like, "I have to. Take the girl and get out of here." But he says it doctorishly, and so there's that scene where he kind of walks out in front of the sun, which looks like it's going supernova, and he's silhouetted, and the shot is very well done, and for a second, the only phrase that just popped into my mind was "the last of the Time Lords." And I realized that, like, at that point in time, he was wearing the mantle of the entity, the last Time Lord. Like, because, the Time Lords, at least always seemed to me in Old Who, to be kind of like the Romans. We've got time travel, and we're really cool, and we have robes and things and stuff, and we don't get involved in your petty disputes with the Time Lords. And, they obviously their civilization had power. They were a powerful people. They prevented pretty much everyone else except the Daleks from having time travel. He's the last one. He is like the remnants of the power of his entire people, and that was his speech, that was powerful, and I think that's why for me it was powerful. And you were like, "Oh, shut up," probably.
Omega wants to marry the Doctor.
What did you even say? I didn't even hear what you said.
Omega likes to marry the Doctor.
Yes, dear. Well, I do. I did. I married the Doctor if he was a woman. Remember?
This is true. I have been referred to as the Doctor if he was a lesbian.
I think I said that to you, like a few hours before we actually got married, because I'd been planning to have it be part of the vow, but then I was too confused about how the vows actually worked, and I just went with what the ones that the lady wrote. But I said that to you once. I said, you Doctor, if you were the Doctor, I'd be your companion, and you'd take me with you on all your adventures, and you said, "Yes, honey."
And I'd be like, yeah, totally, until like you became really old and died of old age, and I was still going because I was a Time Lord, and then I'd go off and find someone else. Doo-doo!
Thank you, dear. It's so tender and sweet.
You didn't see it, but when I went doo-doo, I actually moved my hand. I held an action figure and I moved it like it was jumping away jauntily.
That's great. Oh, you know what? So the thingies that were coming after the girl that were like, "Where are you?" Their character design looked familiar to me, and I don't know why.
Cenobites crossed with steampunk.
I've never seen Hellraiser though.
Well, that's your problem.
Well, no, their character design looks very, very familiar. Like, I know I've seen something very similar to that before, and I can't think where. Audience, if you know, write the show.
Hellraiser.
I've never seen Hellraiser.
Hellraiser 2.
I haven't seen that either.
Hellraiser 3.
Stop it.
Hellraiser 4.
Mm.
Hellraiser
Also,
5.
Stop it.
6.
I'm not even paying attention to you right now.
7 or 8.
I'm playing Temple Run on my phone.
Hellraiser 9.
No.
Okay, that's the last of them. the unmade Hellraiser versus Child's Play.
No. Never. Another thing that I like that Clara was a lot more toned down in this, and I think it's because she was out of her modern element, and that was cool. So she didn't try to be Miss Sassy Pants, I can hack anything in the world, I'm better than the Doctor, when she was completely and totally out of her depth. And I liked that.
Slight improvement, and that's partly probably because Stephen Moffat wasn't writing her. Stephen Moffat cannot write female characters who are not
Can he, delegate that? He's got to have a female friend who's a writer. Couldn't he be like, "Hey, can you handle this part?" If you don't have the skill set, you delegate.
I don't know. But Moffat, that's one of his massive blind spots.
Although, you know what, in this episode, we were bitching last week about, oh, well, she's always a governess and things and stuff. I think that that's her thing. She obviously has a way with children. And it came across in this episode, and I think it came across even better because the child actress did a good job, and she was not cloying and obnoxious.
She definitely could have been much, much worse.
Yeah. And there was a reference to the first Doctor, and I liked it a lot.
Hellraiser 12?
No, I'm not talking to you anymore if you're doing that for the rest of the episode.
Well, there is no Hellraiser 12.
No. But did you catch it?
Yep.
Yep. I thought that was cool, and because I could actually imagine that whole scene in black and white, very less cheaply done. With like the first Doctor hobbling around and Susan be like, "Oh, grandfather, look, it's a glowing fruit." "Oh, don't you touch that!" And like Ian and Barbara, like, "It's amazing." "I know, Ian, right? I know, right? That's my impersonation of this episode. If it was a first Doctor episode, thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Although it's possible that they went before Ian and Barbara or after Ian and Barbara.
It's possible, but I like that one better.
Although it can't be after Ian and Barbara because
Oh yeah, right.
Susan left first.
Well, then it could have been during, and that would, and even if it wasn't, I like that idea.
I just thought it wasn't. I was expecting something like The End of the World or The Beast Below, and it wasn't as bad as either.
Well, I like the fact that again, it wasn't, "Oh my gosh, the end of existence." She was like, "Oh no, it will destroy everything in these 7 systems." So, like, literally, if the Doctor wanted to, he and Clara could have hopped in the TARDIS and be like, "Well, that's your problem," and bamfed out of there. But they didn't, because they don't walk away.
Yeah, so instead of just being about the end of, I usually complain that it's about the end of a the planet or something, but no, it's the end of 7 planets.
Well, honey, I mean, they looked like they were clustered pretty close. If a star that size went supernova, yeah, it would kind of take them out.
Oh, I know they would. I kind of really want a return to smaller stories. I know the next episode with the Ice Warrior looks like it's going to be, well, it's set in a submarine, so hopefully it'll be smaller. But again, that's going to be all, the end of the world, and it's like, God damn it! Just, the people who were in the story are going to be just as dead whether they blow up the building they're in, the city they're in, the country they're in, or the planet they're in. Can't they tone it down?
Yeah, let's go back to let's go back to those totalitarian storylines, which obviously are a metaphor for British fascism.
No, they don't have to do all that. I want the stakes to not be quite as high. Because, they got one of the flaws with New Who is size of story equals good. That's the ideas they've got. And it's like, no, at least give us some variety.
It was so refreshing not to be in contemporary London. I mean, no offense to any of our audience who live in contemporary London.
Well, there's no offense to it. I'm glad every time I don't see contemporary London in Doctor Who, and I fucking love London. London, as far as I'm concerned, is one of the best cities on the planet.
Well, it's like your guys' New York City. It's like, the thing. I mean, it's like the other New York of the world.
It was referred to by an article recently which caused a little bit of annoyance. London is a first-rate city that is connected to a second-rate country.
Oh, snap, y'all.
I think part of the point
That's exactly what David Cameron said too. Is, "Oh, snap, y'all."
One of the things, reasons for this sort of thing could well be is because the UK had a habit of putting absolutely everything of note into London. That's part of the reason it's such a sort of behemoth of a city. But recently they started trying to separate things out. Like the BBC has recently moved up to Manchester, and like there's different parliaments in different countries and stuff. So it's London's prestige may well fall a little bit, but the rest of the UK is really fucking good too.
Well, I mean, apparently Manchester, Liverpool area is like a really cool place to be, because hopefully that'll be the place that we be. And a friend of mine that I used to work with at the store that I'm at now, she's in grad school, and she's in the Manchester area. She was like, "We can go out to lunch," and I was like, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, she's good. Well, I mean, she might go. Manchester was fine. I've been there a few times. Spent more time in Liverpool, but they're fine. They're not going to like make you want to melt yourself or anything.
Just and like that's cool. Like I'm not saying that I want to see the Doctor in like California or South America or whatever, but it's just nice to see him in space. And I
Well, that's
noticed
nice
that like
too.
in Old Who they spend a lot of time in the TARDIS, like a lot of scene time in the TARDIS. And in New Who, like, oh, we'll be in the control room for the establishing shot, and then we'll not be anywhere else.
Yeah, I like. There's an episode coming up called "Journey to the Center of the TARDIS." So
Ooh.
that's, there was an episode, "The Doctor's Wife," which featured a lot of, which was written by Neil Gaiman, which
I
featured a
heard
lot
that.
of stuff about inside the TARDIS, which was well done. But I'd like to see them go away from contemporary London. Partly because you could film stuff in their London and Cardiff things, and they could set it almost anywhere in the UK. So why do they have to have it in London? They could just say, "Oh look, we're in Bristol. Oh look, we're in a Toxeter.
John O'Groats.
Oh look, we're well, John O'Groats is more of a geographical thing than a
Don't
city.
care. Want to say it. John O'Groats.
Oh look, we're in Penzance." They could film stuff and then set it in other random places, but they just decide to go for London. Like,
Or more historical stuff.
I
Like, good lord, we're in the Renaissance, he said.
well, yeah, there's Portmeirion for that.
Oh yeah, yeah, that one town.
That's where The Prisoner was filmed. They used that for Renaissance Italy in Tom Baker's era. The So there's lots of options. Like in New Who, they've had like a small scene in Hull, and they've had I think one in a scene in Stoke and stuff, and they just filmed stuff in their usual places, and it was fine. It's just they seem to have an issue with not being near London. Although with Moffat, it's a lot better than it was than with Russell T Davies. That was one of his blind spots.
I'm gonna go to Dubai, I'm just saying. But I'm gonna stay home because they'll kill me if I'm gay. Amen.
Fucking Dubai.
He said. Oh, so my coworker, fortunately his shift started when mine was just ending. And like the first thing, like I was like, oh hey, he's like, hey, and I'm like, I know, right? And he goes, I know, right? Because that's all we do is talk about Doctor Who. And he's really excited that the 10th Doctor's coming back for the 50th anniversary. And I said, oh, my wife would be so angry. She hates him.
Oh yes, not at all impressed.
Not at all. But that might just be the end of the Doctor until next week because do you know what time it is?
Dictionary thing?
Yes, you got it right this time. You didn't say something like it's sheep shearing time or it's waffle time.
Oh.
What page should I turn to? I'm holding the Oxford American Dictionary. It is time to pick next week's topic.
63.
63, alright.
Because that's when Doctor Who first aired.
Ooh, it's all symbolic and stuff. It's gonna be. Oh no, I'll still have my VPN, so we'll still be able to watch next week. Alright, one or two.
2, because 2 is my favorite Doctor.
Okay.
And 6 down because he's your favorite.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Blameworthy. Deserving of blame.
Yeah, we just get to insult things we don't like. Excellent.
That works out. Hey, that works for me.
Rawr! Anger!
Rar, anger?
Yeah, rawr! We get to be angry about things.
Damn you! Let's blame everyone. We could blame Canada.
No, only if Canada does something.
Well, no, from South Park, the song "Blame Canada."
I thought that was a very racist song.
How is it? Is it? Satire is lost on you.
Or maybe satire is lost on you.
No, I don't think so. Because I went to see it the next night. We liked it so we saw the South Park movie, and we liked it so much we went back the next night to see it again.
Ah, there's you and your imperialism.
What is imperialism?
Just, being all like, oh, let's insult the Canadians.
Well, when the DVD came out, it was released in Canada too, because you have the option to watch it in French.
Or maybe it was released in France.
No, because it said it on there. It was a Canadian option. Listen, you're in a quite contrary mood.
I'm often in a contrary mood when we do these.
That's true. That's like your default setting.
Yeah, you realize this, no one else probably realizes how much I'm just putting this on.
Yeah, because usually, like, after she'll be like, okay, so anyway, honey, I'm gonna go do things and stuff. Is that okay? I'm gonna go play a video game. And I'm like, okay, dear, I'm gonna go do the dishes.
I would play Total Annihilation, although I can't play Total Annihilation anymore.
I'm sure. And just for the record, in case anyone's paying attention, Kippers has been sleeping on the couch.
I can't play Total Annihilation anymore because I finished the game with both sides and now I'm playing Dungeon Keeper,
Dungeon Keeper.
which I'm totally going to introduce you to at some point.
Oh, I found you can play the first Doom on Armor Games or Congregate or one of those sites, but it doesn't
Oh,
have the music. So I
no.
think what I might do later on, if I feel like it, is actually crawl under the desk and hook up my old desktop from 2002 that it it still runs Windows XP and plug in my speakers because I have Doom 2 installed and play with the sound on.
You should do that.
I might. Well, I have to
Or
do.
you could play the Armor Games version and just play the soundtrack on YouTube.
That's complicated, and it involves having several windows open and trusting that my Flash is not going to bork out on me. Because for some reason, Chrome just won't play well with Flash, and I don't know why.
Hmm.
But anyway, for this week, for episode 16, I have been the Omega.
I've been Beetlejuice.
You've not, you've been Diamond Hagen.
Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
We'll see you guys next week.
Won't see us.
You
It's audio.